Eminem is one of the most brilliant and talented rappers of our time. His lyrics stand out for their depth and emotional intensity, as well as their ability to touch on a wide range of topics. In his tracks, Eminem is not afraid to speak about difficult and sometimes shocking things, which makes his work unique and memorable. Eminem has long become a rap legend, and his work continues to attract interest from music fans around the world. We'll talk about how Eminem came into rap, what events and experiences influenced his music, and what themes he addresses in his songs. We'll take a look at some of his most well-known tracks and try to understand what lies behind the shocking lines that have become Eminem's calling card. Eminem doesn't just use rhymes, he pours his soul and heart into his words. His lyrics are not just a bunch of lines, but real stories that make you think and empathize. In this video, we'll try to give you an idea of what Eminem rapped about in his tracks. Covering everything is impossible, so we've chosen key moments to give you the full picture. Get ready to dive into the story of how one of the most influential rappers of our time came to be. Sit back and relax, we're starting. Eminem was born in St. Joseph on October 17, 1972 in a creative family. His father, Marshall Bruce Mathers, was a musician, and his mother, Debbie Nelson Mathers Briggs, a singer. When the rapper was 6 months old, Marshall left the family. He never saw his father again, although he really wanted to. For a long time, the future Eminem wrote letters to his father, but the messages were always returned with a "return to sender" stamp. Debbie and her son moved around a lot. The boy started school in a suburb of Detroit, where the population was predominantly African American. Being a white kid, he was bullied by his peers. A local thug beat the young boy in a school bathroom, slamming his head against a ceramic toilet. For a while, young Eminem couldn't even walk on his own, but the bully faced no consequences. Once, Eminem was even in a coma for 10 days after being beaten by classmates. At 17, Marshall couldn't take the constant bullying anymore and dropped out of school. He had been held back 3 times due to skipping class. After dropping out, he had to work to help his mother somehow. In his free time, he turned on music and wrote tracks. His uncle, Ronnie, helped him with that by bringing rap tapes. In 1987, a teenager gave him a cassette with music by rapper Ice-T. The guy got hooked on this music style and began participating in battles. But in 1991, Ronnie committed suicide and Marshall fell into a deep depression. By that time, though, Eminem was already a relatively known rapper. He had been performing in basement clubs since he was 14 and was known in narrow rap circles. At 17, he took the nickname Eminem, the initials of his real name, Marshall Mathers. Later, this transformed into Eminem. Eminem began his career in 1995 as part of the group New Jacks.
If we have when you lose it, don't pick up a mic, you don't know how to use it. The mic is not a...
Then he rapped in the musical collective Soul Intent. At the same time, the rapper was working on a solo album. The record, titled Infinite, was released in 1996, but it was not successful. I maybe sold 70 copies and didn't get a good reaction. I hadn't found myself yet. Many said I sounded like Nas. At the time, he had a strong influence. The artist said in his autobiography, The Way I Am. As Marshall grew up, he worked very hard, cooking and washing dishes for minimum wage in a restaurant over 60 hours a week. In 1997, he was fired, and Marshall began abusing alcohol and substances and almost ended his life, since his early music wasn't gaining popularity. But everything changed when the rapper released all his emotions and introduced people to his alter ego, Slim Shady. Before diving into Slim Shady's storyline, let's clarify the names. In the artist's discography, there are 3 main personas: Marshall Mathers, Eminem, and Slim Shady. The first, a sincere, serious young man and loving father signature track, Mockingbird.
And I know you miss your dad when I'm gone, but I'm trying to give you the life that I never had. I can see.
The second, more lyrical and focused on lyrics, and most importantly, less aggressive than Slim Shady. The last one, a true antagonist, constantly battling with Eminem. Like an angel and demon living on Marshall's shoulders. The first dose of madness in the form of Slim Shady appeared on the mini-album Slim Shady in 1997. The release nearly turned the industry upside down. The whole underground scene went wild. The rapper even started getting calls about gigs, but real triumph was yet to come. Marshall Mathers, in the form of Slim Shady, said no to any rules and taboos. Only complete freedom of thought. On the EP, the rapper glorified violence and brought up topics like poverty and love problems. In one track, the rapper raps about voices whispering in his head, telling him to kill.
Voices in my head, why these whispers echo? Murder, murder, red rum.
In the next track, the rapper sticks with the theme of violence and continues to shock with his lines.
Addict, half animal, half man. Dumping your dead body inside of a fucking trash can.
We hope these few examples are enough for you to catch the vibe of the whole EP. Violence, aggression, and zero morality. But the artist didn't stop there.
I invented you because my life was f***ed up. My music was going nowhere, and I was broke.
Exactly.
But you didn't fix anything. You actually made that worse. I couldn't even take a in the bathroom without someone standing by you. You're the reason I had to self-medicate. Because of you, I almost lost my career, my family, my life.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Bro, I'm 16 years sober. What the f?
I just don't give a fuck.
2 years later, the artist released a truly original full-length album, The Slim Shady, which blew up the charts and early 2000s hip-hop and also earned him his first Grammy for Best Rap Album. On the record, his bold statements on pressing issues in society, pop culture, politics, and his personal life. It's worth noting the narrative feels more like a true crime chronicle than a hip-hop track. The song 97, Bonnie and Clyde, is a true crime story in which the artist, along with his young daughter, gets rid of the body of his girlfriend Kim. Mommy said she wants to see how far she can swim. Don't pay attention to that little boo-boo on her throat. That's just a scratch. It doesn't hurt her anymore. The reason for this story is simple. Marshall believed Kimberly wouldn't let him see baby Haley.
Oh, where's mama? She's taking a little nap in the trunk. Oh, that smell. Daddy must have run.
Here's how the artist himself commented on that track.
97 Bonnie and Clyde theme. And that song was about the murder of my daughter's mother and putting him in the trunk. And at the time when I wrote that song, I really felt like I wanted to do that. There's a lot of fathers that go through a lot of stuff with their babies' mothers, and they want to do that stuff, but they just don't say it. If you've never been so mad at somebody, has anybody ever put you through something, through so much crap that you actually felt like killing them? Whatever's on my mind, I'm gonna say it. If I'm thinking it, I'm gonna say it. I'm that type of person. I've always been that type of person, you know.
If you already feel uneasy, it gets worse. In the same book, The Way I Am, Eminem recalled how Dr. Dre suggested recording Guilty Conscience. What if we made a song where I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy? A crazy lunatic straight out of the psych ward? The track, by the way, was inspired by a scene in the movie Animal House, where one of the characters is guided by an angel and a devil before assaulting an unconscious girl at a party.
Drop the biscuit. Don't even listen to Slim, yo. It's bad for you.
And who plays the dark and light side in the song is obvious without saying. That's where these lines came from. Hey, wait, that girl's only 15. Don't mess with her, it's not fair. For those who were wondering back then if it was okay to rap about stuff like that, the musician responded on the next record in Drug Ballad, I just say whatever I want to whoever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, however I want.
I just say whatever I want to whoever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, however I want.
Here's another comment from Marshall.
The actual article written by Timothy White, which, you know, he mentioned a couple things in terms of, you know, the obviously the guilty conscience. And
The song Guilty Conscience, it was 3 instances of somebody about to do something bad, and this is what was going through their mind when they was about to do this. You know what I'm saying? There's the good half of you and there's the bad half of you. It's a concept song, but Timothy White didn't see the concept behind it, and obviously got offended because he probably really thinks that way. You know what I'm saying? That's his guilty conscience. He really thinks that way and wants to claim all of this righteousness and whatever, you know, but his guilty conscience is making him take it seriously. I think it hit a soft spot for Timothy White.
At least that's what Eminem claimed. Slim Shady is just the evil thoughts that come into my head. That's why a lot of my songs are funny. If you don't find those tracks funny, then something must be wrong with your sense of humor, according to Eminem for sure. What kind of result did the Slim Shady deliver? Critic Soren Baker's reaction in the Los Angeles Times seems to perfectly describe everything going on in the album. He's not afraid to say anything. His lyrics are so clever that murder sounds like just a fun thing to do to kill time. Slim Shady became cemented in listeners' minds as an ambassador of chaos and recklessness. However, it wasn't just listeners who were shocked by Eminem's lyrics. His loved ones repeatedly expressed that Marshall portrayed them in a bad light in his tracks and disgraced their name. In the year 1999, Eminem's mother sued him over the track My Name Is, and it's justified considering these lines from the song. 99% of my life I was lied to. I just found out my mum does more dope than I do. Eminem's mother didn't like that her son constantly painted her in a bad light. Debbie Mathers-Briggs sued him for defamation in the amount of $10 million. Eminem's lawyer issued a statement. This lawsuit was not unexpected for Eminem. His mother had threatened to sue him after the success of his single. It's simply the result of a strained relationship between him and his mother throughout his life. Nevertheless, when your own mother sues you, it still hurts, and so the lawsuit will be handled strictly through the courts. The alter ego also influenced the artist's other albums. In 2000, a new one was released, The Marshall Mathers, which became the fastest-selling rap album in the United States. And the single, The Real Slim Shady, climbed to the 4th spot on the Billboard Hot 100, even though the track is full of insults and sharp remarks toward his fellow artists.
The real Shady, all you other Slim Shadys are just imitating, so won't the real Slim Shady please say?
Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Will Smith got their share of shade.
Wouldn't it be weird? Why? You guys can just lie to get me here so you can sit me here.
The track Stan also became popular. In it, he tells the story of a fictional fan who killed his girlfriend and himself. Of course, the track was heavily censored. Perhaps Kim is the most shocking track on the Marshall Mathers LP. There aren't even the usual Slim Shady jokes here. For 5 straight minutes, the rapper screams and drags his wife out into the woods.
Shut the fuck up! You're drunk! You're never gonna get away with this! I give a
At the time of the song's release, Kim Mathers was still Eminem's wife, and upon hearing it, attempted to take her own life. In 2002, things were stable for the artist. A new album, The Eminem Show, peak results after its release, chart domination, and the madman Slim Shady on the record. The anti-hero appeared in the track Without Me, and true to form, delivered wild lines while throwing jabs at showbiz. In his signature style, he shouted out Elvis Presley, Limp Bizkit, and Moby.
little hellions, kids feeling rebellious, embarrassed, the parents still listen to Elvis.
In the track, Eminem also referenced the lawsuit from his mother, spitting the lines, "I just settled all my lawsuits, fuck you, Debbie." Surprisingly, Eminem's biggest problem wasn't getting in trouble for stunts like this, but the fact that fans only cared about Slim Shady. Once people heard about Slim Shady, they didn't want Marshall or Eminem anymore. The rapper shared in his book, The Way I Am. He even rapped about this in Without Me. "I created a monster, cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more, they want Slim Shady. I'm chopped liver, well, if you want Slim Shady, this is what I'll give you."
Cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more, they want Shady, I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want Shady.
Eminem's popularity soared even higher after the semi-biographical film 8 Mile premiered in 2002, starring Eminem himself. The rapper said the movie wasn't his life story, but reflected how he lived in Detroit. The title comes from 8 Mile Road, a real street in Detroit that marks the boundary between poor black neighborhoods and the mostly working-class white suburbs. For the film, he recorded Lose Yourself and won an Oscar for Best Original Song. In the track, the rapper talks about his journey to success and how he earned respect from other hip-hop artists.
Come out, he's choking how? Everybody's choking now, the clock's run out.
Eminem also raps about the pressure within his struggling family. He can't even call himself a father. In the track, he spits, "The pain inside amplified by the fact that I can't provide the right type of life for my family." Eminem repeatedly faced censorship and bans of his tracks. Due to the song Kill You, he was banned from entering Canada. The track was in classic Slim Shady style, full of brutality and violence. One of the lines goes, "I slit your throat so deep you keep screaming, even when you're breathing through your lungs."
You rap about raping and killing women, but you really don't do that, do you, Eminem?
Yes.
You do rape and kill women?
Yes.
Are you amazed at the firestorm that has begun, and are you afraid it could be a career destroyer?
I'm not worried about it, because anybody with half a brain is going to be able to tell when I'm joking and when I'm serious.
In the year 2000, Lynn Cheney addressed the United States Senate Committee with a speech about excessive violence in the media. She singled out Eminem's song Kill You.
Bitch, I ain't gonna shoot you. I'ma pull you to this bullet and put it through you. Shut up, slut, you're causing too.
Lynn handed out the lyrics and said, "This is horrible, this is shameful, this is awful. What are we going to do?" Eminem responded in the track White America, "Fuck you, Miss Cheney, fuck you and your freedom of speech." Ontario's Attorney General Jim Flaherty named the lyrics of Kill You as the reason Eminem was denied entry to Canada, stating, "Personally, I don't want someone coming into Canada who promotes violence against women." In that same track, White America, the rapper also criticizes the authorities. Here, Eminem claims that if he were black, he wouldn't have achieved the same level of success. In the track, Eminem calls out a hypocritical society and country. He's baffled, as if rappers before never cursed or said they slapped women. Yet for some reason, only Eminem gets the heat for it. Let's do the math. If I were black, I would have only made half. And I don't need to graduate from Lincoln High to know that, raps Eminem.
Let's do the math. If I was black, I would have sold half. I ain't have to graduate.
Eminem's first political jabs appeared on The Eminem Show. In the Without Me video, he ran around in an Osama bin Laden costume, but on the album Encore, they hit full force. The United States Secret Service took notice of the track We as Americans. The line, "I'd rather see the president dead," was seen as a threat to the life of George Bush. But one shouldn't forget how vile and horrifying some of the rapper's lyrics can be. The track Insane, for example, many people can't even listen to it all the way through. The track is about a fictional stepfather who sexually abused the rapper in childhood, at home, in the bathroom, in the shed, basically everywhere. Picking the worst quote is pointless. Every line is as revolting as it gets.
I was born with a tick in my brain, yeah, fucked in the head. My stepfather said that I sucked.
The album Relapse was full of tracks like this. Another example is Stay Wide Awake. A typical Relapse track, Eminem dedicates 3 whole verses to a detailed depiction of a rapist's daily routine, attacking a pregnant woman in Central Park, silently sneaking into another victim's house at night, and waiting in the basement for a third one. Dull-bladed knives, duct tape, an axe, and even an umbrella are used, and Eminem goes into such specific detail that the lyrics quickly stop sounding like a mere horror story. Fun fact, 14 out of 16 lines in the second verse are completely rhymed with one another. By the time Relapse came out, everyone already knew Eminem could easily go after any celebrity, but few expected that he'd be willing to dance on graves. In the third verse of Medicine Ball, Slim Shady recalls actor Christopher Reeve, who spent the last 9 years of his life in a wheelchair, paralyzed, before passing away in 2004. The rapper doesn't just laugh at the late actor, but even mocks his voice, making tense, long breaths. Reeve could barely breathe on his own, an electric stimulator was attached to his diaphragm.
My Superman costume doesn't even fit you, they don't feel you.
After releasing Relapse, Eminem claimed he was tired of shocking maniac-themed rap and dropped the wildly successful emo album Recovery, where he teamed up with Rihanna. However, just a year later, the rapper had a creative relapse. As part of the duo Bad Meets Evil, he and fellow rapper Royster 5'9" recorded Hell the Sequel, bringing Shady back to life, the most mischievous track on the album. The second verse of I'm on Everything, Eminem wakes up hungover, pops a pill, visits his dealer, in a wrecked state, crashes into a tree, then mixes substances, and advises the listener to keep an eye on their girl with the line, watch her, cause after we drug you, we're gonna have our way with her. Slim Shady at his finest. And now it's time to talk about disses. Eminem is definitely strong in this area. Probably the most well-known was the beef with Machine Gun Kelly. It all started with a simple comment from Kelly. He called Eminem's daughter hot, but the rapper didn't take that comment lightly. For years, the two threw jabs at each other in songs and interviews, but it was Eminem who made the first move to ignite the war by releasing a track directly addressing his enemy with the lines, I don't use slang and I damn sure don't kiss ass, but keep commenting on my daughter Haley. A few days later, Kelly responded with a track called Rap Devil, a play on Eminem's rap god from his 2013 album The Marshall Mathers LP. In the track, Kelly criticized everything, from M's weird beard and silly hats to his age, M, you're already over 50, and his sobriety. The situation escalated even further on September 14th when Eminem dropped the track Kill Shot, which is a full-blown takedown of Kelly from start to finish.
Enough of this tatted up mumble rapper, how the fucking him and I battle? He'll have to fuck him in my flannel.
Surprisingly, there weren't even especially brutal lines in the song, yet the entire hip-hop community unanimously declared Eminem killed Kelly's career with this track.
I'm the greatest rapper alive since my favorite rapper banned me from Shade 45 or whatever he said, right? You know how many rappers that are better than you? You're not even in the fucking conversation. I don't care if you fucking blow or if you don't blow. It doesn't matter to me. And people start hitting me up, yo, he dissed you. I'm like, I gotta answer this motherfucker.
However, the more interesting part was a line where Eminem doesn't talk about Kelly, but about Diddy. Kelly, the day you release a hit is the day Diddy admits he put out the hit that got Pac killed, raps Eminem. Diddy's trial has already begun, and the scandal surrounding his arrest shows no signs of fading. Quite the opposite, the knot continues to unravel and more shocking details keep surfacing about the life of Sean Combs, who's accused of racketeering and human trafficking. Many fans have speculated that Eminem was warning everyone about Diddy long before Kill Shot. For example, the hit Fuel from a recently released album is considered a real warning about the danger of the 54-year-old Combs. In it, the rapper openly speaks about violence and uses wordplay to hint at exactly who he's accusing. Instead of saying Diddy's name outright, he raps P. Diddy.
Spell the word rapper and leave out a P. Diddy. Yep. RP, rest in peace. Biggie and Pac, both of y'all.
Now that we've broken down some of Eminem's most shocking lyrics, it's time to talk about what's happening with the artist's music now. Has Eminem's approach to songwriting changed? It's hard to say for sure. Let's take a look from all sides. Let's start with the 2020 album Music to be Murdered By. The most talked about track was Unaccommodating. Here, Eminem compares himself to a terrorist dropping bombs, but I watch from the sidelines, screaming bombs away at the game. Like I'm standing outside an Ariana Grande concert, raps the artist. Of course, this is a reference to the terrorist attack in Manchester that took place in 2017 at an Ariana Grande concert. Right after her name in the song, a bomb sound is heard.
Contemplating, yelling bombs away on the game like I'm outside of an Ariana Grande concert waiting.
At least 22 people died in the explosion. Many online thought this metaphor went too far, and the mother of one of the victims called the track disgusting and disrespectful to the families of those killed, but it's also worth remembering that right after the tragedy, Eminem urged people on social media to support the victims and ended up helping raise nearly £2 million. Remember how many tracks and horrifying lines were dedicated to the rapper's wife, Kim? Well, in 2017, Eminem released the track Bad Husband. It's the longest apology Eminem has ever made to Kim for the pain he caused her. He focuses on the the positive moments in their relationship and acknowledges how deeply he once loved her. "I'm sorry, Kim, more than you can imagine. Leaving you was harder than soaring off a limb," he raps.
More than you could ever comprehend. Leaving you was fucking harder than sawing off a fucking...
In conclusion, it's impossible to express a definitive opinion about Eminem's music. Undoubtedly, he's a legendary artist whose tracks remain hits for generations. In this video, we've gone through Eminem's most shocking lines, but his music also includes emotional and somber tracks reflecting his life story, so the judgment on the rapper's artistry is yours to make. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you soon.